Greg. Mike. Two Bandits. Watching Bluey.
This episode is called Two Bandits Interview Joe Brumm.
What up, party people, and welcome
Us.
to a very special episode of Two Bandits.
Two of us.
Watching Bluey. I am your host, Greg Painter.
That's Greg Painter.
And with me is my bestest good friend.
Boom. Mike Martin. That's me.
you. How we doing today, buddy?
For some reason, I thought you announced me, and so I paused completely. Maybe I just feel like maybe it shouldn't just be the two of us. Maybe that's why I felt the delay. Maybe...
Look at you. Look at you. After all my segues last week, you segue us right into it's not just the two of us. Because
I've been practicing all week.
We are privileged.
Yes.
And extraordinarily excited to let you know that this week
We are doing something cool.
we are doing something extremely cool. We are interviewing the director, the creator, the writer,
Go on.
the beautiful mind
Look at that.
behind the amazing show Bluey, Mr. Joe Brumm.
Slow clap? Woohoo!
Wow. Wow. So I don't want to just ramble on here because we're really good at doing that. We got a heck of an interview to share with you guys.
Yes.
Some Bluey facts and info. I had no idea of going into this interview.
We dig deep here.
Some really cool tidbits.
Hard-hitting questions.
Hard-hitting questions from two crazy American dads who just love Bluey. So without further ado, we give you Two Bandits.
That's us.
Interview Joe Brumm.
Oh my gosh.
Well, first off, we are honored to welcome creator, writer, and director of Bluey, Joe Brumm. Joe, thank you very much for your time today. Not just your time, but thank you very much for this amazing show you created.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
No worries. Yeah, good to talk to you.
All right, so let's jump right into it. First question I have for you, how did this all start? Like, what inspired you to create Bluey?
Well, the main reason was I wanted to get back into a big studio environment. I'd worked in London for sort of the first 10 years or so of my career and usually in big studios. And I really liked the atmosphere of just, being in a 50-person studio and you become really good friends. And when I moved back to Brisbane, I was just running my own little studio with a mate of mine. And it was a lot of fun. It was really exciting because we were just steering our own course. But eventually started missing that experience of just being around a big group of animators all pitching in on a big long project. So that was I wanted to recapture that, and that's why I decided to make a series. And then I really just I really loved Peppa Pig, and I wanted to kind of do an Australian dog version of Peppa Pig, and it sort of started that as the seed, but of course it then came out as Bluey, really. But yeah, so it's a bit of it was not like I wanted to make Bluey. I just wanted to be in a big group of animators again.
That's awesome. You'll find it being a nice bit of contention between Greg and I when it comes to Peppa. So
We don't need to go there today, but that's all good.
Fair enough.
So other than Peppa, obviously, what other shows are you drawing inspiration from to create Bluey, or just like in general right now?
Right now, I'm watching. It's Bluey. It's a mix of a lot of different things. I think I grew up on a cartoon called Astro Boy, which when I was a kid, a Japanese cartoon, and it really, I think it was meant for adults, but it just showed me at an early age that a cartoon could really just tell quite complicated emotional stories, especially to kids. So that really just set the bedrock for, look, cartoons don't have to just stick to a certain a certain level of seriousness or something, but and then look, South Park, when I was right as I started art college, I decided, all right, I'll study animation. I remember reading the old TV guide back when we had TV guides, and it just one day when I was probably about 19, it said, new show, new series, South Park, set in Canadian small town, Sunday night animation. And I just remember thinking, oh, I'm going to be an animator. I should watch that. And then I remember watching the first episode of that and just, I mean, my brain it couldn't accept the crudity of the movement at first. I still remember going, wow, what is this? But it was just so funny. You just push through it. But that really, it was just something that you could tell good filmmakers had made and had directed well and storyboarded well, and it's sort of remained a bit of an inspiration since. But everything, Detectorist, Seinfeld, Simpsons, of course, like it all just goes in.
Sure.
I just really badly now want to get a dubbing of South Park, except anytime they swear, they're just saying, "Oh, biscuits" or "cheese and crackers." That needs to happen now. We got to figure out how to make that happen.
Yeah, all right. Make some calls.
But we're actually in the middle of doing a Best of Bluey Season 1 bracket as part of our show. We're just curious, do you have a favorite episode of Season 1 or a favorite moment from Season 1?
Yeah, I really like the Calypso episode. It's always been my favorite of Season 1. It just sort of did what I wanted to do. Although, like, I really do like the dump as well. I think it's kind of it was just a really fun one to write and then to make, and it is very just. I mean, I every time I take my kids to the dump, it's just I kind of relive that episode. So, yeah, to me, that's what Bluey's about. It's about going to the dump and having, talking to your kids, and just those moments where it's just, it's just me and the girls, that's definitely my second favorite.
I love that because my girls one day was like, "Hey, Saturday, what do you guys want to do? Let's go to the dump." It's like, all right, load up the car.
I love the dump.
You're saving me monies on weekend. I appreciate it, Joe.
My older brother, he's got this idea. He wants to set up a pub at the dump, just called the Dump.
Yeah.
Where you just sit up there and you have a few beers and just watch people just what they dump. You can shout out to them.
So it's just people watching all day.
Yeah.
The Brumm family with the multi-million ideas left and right, man. Whew, love it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got the episodes like camping and you have sleepy time that people tend to have at a certain tier. Do you feel like there's an unsung hero episode? One that you feel like doesn't get enough recognition that you put a lot of time into?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I really like Backpackers. It might be a personal thing, maybe just because it just, reminds me of, it's all the little jokes. I spent a lot of my youth backpacking, so that really, and it's a real Australian tradition to go backpacking. So I think that I like that episode captures it. Yeah, that's a good question.
Sorry to do that to you.
Yeah, no. It's all blurring into one, all the seasons at this point. But I would say there's gonna, you know what, something's gonna occur to me in about 24 hours from now, and I'm gonna send you an email. But
I was about to say, reach out. We'll accept your messages. Don't worry.
Well, sidebar. What was your favorite place backpacking?
Oh, I went to India. That was pretty wild for sort of 9 months or so, and just met a lot of great people. And that really, that was a bit of a standout trip.
Just sounds fun.
Yeah, I really like Dunny. I really like. I don't know if it's unsung or not, but just those moments. I just wanted to write an episode which was sort of like your Sunday morning where, you lie there, the kids jump into your bed, and, you just have these crazy conversations that you would only have when you're all lying still and really comfortable. And yeah, that one really, just that scene, I guess, of just lying in bed with your kids and your wife.
100%. Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I live it, and I love it, so I have to agree with it.
I'm guessing Dunny won't be the answer to the next question we got for you, but is there an episode that you've enjoyed making that you could see being turned into a feature-length film?
Oh, wow. Well,
say Dunny.
Originally, Double Babysitter, back when a film was being thought, like that, I thought that could have made a good feature length. Just somehow telling that story in a longer format. Maybe Road Trip Although I don't know if you need another road trip movie out there, but that one maybe could have passed out. But no, look, the feature film is something which I always try to get my head around doing. And if I could ever, if a story ever comes that I think, yeah, that would be a fresh kind of idea for a feature film, then it might go a bit further. But it's very tricky with Bluey because, I mean, the average feature film aimed at that age group, the characters, you know...
Yeah, like mid-30s, early 40s, that age group, yeah.
Well...
Oh, you mean the kids.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I mean, you think about it, like, they're crazy adventures, right? And there's usually magic involved and all this, and, you know, like, they get thrust into some different world, and... With Bluey, you can't really do that. We can't use magic, and Bluey can't get lost and have to go and save her village or anything like that. So it'd have to be something that really feels like a Bluey episode, but is worth telling over 90 minutes. I'm sure there's something.
You do it in 7 minutes, man. So it's...
Yeah. I know. I'd hate to do a feature film and someone say, you know what, that probably could have just been 7 minutes. That'd be annoying.
Well, that's the pickle. I've listened to a couple of interviews that you've done, and you talk about how you hoped that the episode could be a little bit longer, just a little bit. And there were a couple episodes that you wanted to add more to content-wise. Was there a storyline that you had almost fully conceptualized that never made it onto a final script or on the screen?
Yeah, there's been a few. I had this episode I wrote, which was the family all sitting around playing the game of life.
There you go.
I don't know if you remember that old game where you get the little car.
Oh, for sure.
And you get a job and all that. And it was this really heartbreaking story because, you know, when my kids play it, all they want is babies. You know, when you get to the part where you get kids, all they want's babies. And if they get there and... you know, you roll the dice and they get no babies, it's just heartbreak. Ooh. And, you know, and so it's this really weird time where you're sitting there explaining to your kid, look, I'm sorry, you know, but sometimes you just don't get to have children. They're crying. And it's this real, I don't know, it's a real Bluey moment to me. But, yeah, it was, I quite like that script. Bandit, I think, you know, he wanted to stay single, so he drove off and left his wife at the petrol station, and you know, but just copyright wise, it was a non-starter, but it was funny on the page.
The game of something.
Gotta figure it out.
Well, I think we ended up calling it A Dog's Life, but it just the game itself was too close. You know, it wouldn't have worked.
We'll petition the makers of life to get around with that. Our power somehow will make it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
One thing I'm real curious about. We've met a lot of the Healer clan, but for Chili's side of the family, we've only met Dad so far. We met Granddad. Is there any upcoming possibly meet more for family? I know in some pictures in the background it looks like there might be a sister.
Yeah. In so season 3, you'll be meeting a couple members of Chili's family in one way, shape, or form. We did, I think, you guys. I wrote a Bluey's Big Play. It was basically a stage show for Bluey, which has toured around Australia in the last couple of years, and I think we'll eventually do a US tour. And that one does touch on Chili's family a bit, and then in season 3, I've built on that a little bit more. So yeah, season 3, we're sort of I've opened that up a little bit, and it's hopefully it'll work.
Do we know Chili's maiden name?
Ooh,
I just thought that.
I just thought that too. No, no. I mean, dogs are sort of called by their breed, and she is still a healer, so that is a bit odd. She's a healer as well, but no. Last names are like they're kind of breed specific, but then when there's marriage involved, it gets a bit odd. But yeah, no.
Great, you're gonna have one of those 4 a.m. moments, and he wakes up.
I know. Well, open to suggestions.
So we did see the Bandit flashback in season 3. Are we gonna get a flash forward at any point in time for the girls?
Yeah, you are actually. Yeah, I won't describe it in too much detail. Well, you know, not to the full extent of, I think, the Bandit flashback, but just enough, hopefully, to create a nice moment.
Groovy.
I can already see it making me cry.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice scene.
Just with that
actually.
context.
Yeah. Oh, but a full episode would be great. I have thought about it, and that was one of the things which thought in the future maybe the show could actually just jump forward 30 years and we see all the result.
There you go.
It would be interesting. I don't know, but we'll see.
Right.
Just talking about a future Bluey 2. Any chance to see the Healer family grow, either new cousins or possibly baby number 3?
Well, nothing's like planned, but then nothing's ruled out. Yeah, it'd have to not restrict the show or be too gimmicky or anything. I think I'd love Rad and Frisky. Like I'd probably be more inclined to see them have a couple of kids, so there's some more cousins. But accidents happen, You never know.
This episode of Blue is called Oops.
Yes. It's called What Have We Done? Yeah. I mean, what would it be? You could throw a boy in there, I guess. That could be quite fun.
Mix it up a little bit. All right, ready for a me question? So some of the games that are created by the kids truly do seem like they are the norm for the Healer house. What was the most off-the-wall game that you almost had the kids playing and then decided, even for Bingo and Bluey, it was a little too wacky?
Yeah, well, Tickle Crabs, which, isn't a popular game as it stands, was originally...
As a parent, I agree also.
Yeah. That was originally based on a game my kids invented where it was called Pinchy, where instead of tickling the crabs, you went to the beach and you got you packed up and then you got home and you'd accidentally have brought a crab home with you and they would just basically crawl over me and actually pinch me. And I used to say, look, you're allowed to play this once a month and for like 2 minutes. And so they would just once a month they would be pumped to play this, and I just you'd toughen up and you just take 2 minutes of it. So we the show we did the animatic as Pinchy, and then right at the last minute I remember just thinking I can't release this into the world, like this isn't good.
I greatly appreciate that decision.
Yeah,
Tickle Crabs is rough enough sometimes. Pinchy, ooh.
I know, and so the episode did suffer a bit, story wise, but it's probably for the best.
Pinchy the lobsters.
But that hospital app as well, where Bluey
Jab
pulls a cat, I think, out of Bandit's belly. That was just all as it happened one morning with me. It was just like, what's wrong with me? Oh, well, you got a cat in your belly. Yeah, it goes in through your belly button. And so yeah, that was a pretty. It seems a bit off the wall, but that was all quite real.
Well, appreciate your kids for giving you some good stuff to work with here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So outside of the Healer clan, do you have a favorite character on the show?
Yeah, Rusty's my favorite character. I really like him. I think he's a cool little dude. He's fun to write for. He's so kind of like accepting and innocent, but quite tough as well, and just gets on with it. And my favorite dog was a Kelpie called Rusty. So yeah, the show was originally called Rusty and it was going to be about him, but it switched to Bluey. So
no kidding.
Really?
Yeah. Back at the very early development stages. So yeah, I really like Rusty, and probably my favorite app out of all 3 seasons we've just made is a Rusty app coming out soon. So yeah, he's definitely my favorite. And then Bandit's close second.
I figured Bandit would be up there, so we left it out of the Healer. Speaking of Bandit, do you have a favorite Banditism?
Yeah, it's really obscure, but it just makes me like two things I love. One was, I think, Dave McCormack, who voices Bandit. It's very subtle, but probably one of the best lines he's ever delivered is in Shaun, actually, when Shaun pinches Chili on the bum, and Dave just says, well, you shouldn't have done that, Shaun. Just, go back and listen to it. Especially when you just listen to it isolated, it's delivered so well, and it makes me laugh every time. But it's very obscure, but in Hospital, there's a moment in that script where the game's sort of just going along, and then I think Bluey says, we're going to operate, and it's just that moment in every game that you seem to play with your kids where they just suddenly step it up a notch. And Bandit, he just says something, I think he just says, oh, hang on, or something like that. and it's just that moment of, oh, well, hang on, like where it just marks that point where games with kids usually just they step up a notch without your sort of go ahead.
Just that one too far.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, what's about to happen now? And yeah, so it's very obscure, but I like that bit.
That's awesome. So we're hanging out in Syracuse, New York, land of snow and all of that. Odd question. Thanks to the beach episode, we know with sandcastles, Bandit has it down. But if it were to be a snowball fight, Bandit or Uncle Stripe, who would win?
Oh, neither would give an inch, that's for sure. Both would eventually start taking it seriously, like that scene in Dumb and Dumber, I would say, where it just suddenly gets serious. Look, I'm gonna back Stripe. He just has that little brother anger that would just see him through.
He would just snap and find his Uncle Stripe way.
Yeah.
And we got a toughie. We're not just lobbing in softballs here for you, Joe. We got a real tough one coming up next.
Bring it on.
We've asked other guests on the show. We've asked each other and pondered day over day. What's the deal with cats? And where does Bandit keep his phone?
Well, where does he keep his phone? I imagine like firmly wedged between his butt cheeks is probably the most
Perfect.
Although he's got a tail, like maybe somewhere just above the tail, or sort of Die Hard style sticky tape to his back, I guess. That's one of those cartoon mysteries. The cats. Yeah, I was asked this the other day. Cats. I'd love to bring a cat into a Bluey episode. I do think I was thinking back in season 1 that one day a bunch of cats should just turn up, and like talking cats, and it's like
What's with the cat?
yeah, and then it's like some sort of genocide story that then follows, and there's like a war or something or they invaded.
There's your movie, Joe. There's your movie right there.
Yeah, that's it. It's just an all-out war. But yeah, I'll figure it out one day. I'll let you know.
But he could have Rusty be the lead in that situation too.
Exactly.
That works out.
Totally. Yeah. Well, you know what? We've got an animal which went extinct a little while ago called a Tasmanian Tiger, and I really wanted to put one of them in, and I was talking to my brother, and they're technically not canines. They're actually more related to possums, but they look exactly like a dog. So it never made it in, this little Tassie tiger, but that would have been the closest to a feline, even though possum's not close. But I'm willing to move outside the strictly dog species if I have to.
Branching out just slightly.
Yeah.
So as we wind it down, you do have a lot of time that you've committed to Bluey currently and in the past, but do you have any other projects that you are working on outside of the Blueyverse that we should know about?
Yeah, nothing upcoming in that I've started it, but there's a definitely feature film for a slightly older audience, still animated, which I've sort of just had mucking around with for the last few years. So one day I think when I'm in a position I'll get to work on that. And a couple little games and things which have always been in the background. But no, Bluey's pretty all encompassing. To be honest, it's even between seasons. You just write for the following season. So I think one day I'll get to it. But I think after I'll need a little break from preschool television, I would say.
Just a slight breather.
Gotta love it. Well, that's what we had for you, Joe. Thank you again so much, not only for the amazing show, but honestly, and I mean this deep down, from helping to make me and Mike better parents, just learning the patience of Bandit, the patience of Chili, the yes-anding, and not just necessarily shutting it down if we don't get what's going on. It's truly been a blessing. So thank you for all that you do and everybody who works on Bluey. It's an amazing show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll pass that on. And yeah, it's tough work, being a dad, but yeah, it's very rewarding, as you know. Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's we've been able to touch base with a couple people. I mean, we've brought to Joff and chatted with him here and there, and sent good vibes across the board. And everybody on the show has been very responsive, very positive. So you got a good squad that you're working with too.
It's a good squad, and it's an amazing community of fans out there too, which it's got to be a beautiful thing to know you have.
Yeah, it is. It's just a good situation. We've got a really positive crew, and then we've got a really positive set of fans. You know, it's really it's just a pleasure to go to work. Really, I love the crew. I mean, we work hard, but everyone's just really proud of it, and it's just one of those shows where like your friends and your family know it, and so they're really excited for you, and they introduce you to people, and you know, that's a really good thing to see, especially a young crew. It's a lot of them, their first job. It's just fun. It's just quite satisfying to see them working on something that doesn't just disappear into the ether, which a lot of stuff I've worked on does. So, yeah, look, sure. It's a pleasure.
That's awesome.
All right, well, thank you again, and you have our number. So if you ever need 2 American dogs on the show, we'd be more than happy to voice, even if it's just like a syllable. Even if it's just like a cough off scene, we'd be more than happy to be part of it.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. Well, thank you for spreading the word too in the US. It's much appreciated.
Cheers. Absolutely.
Right. Thanks, Joe. You have a great day.
Yeah, you too. See you guys.
Holy stinking biscuits, dude.
Stinking biscuits. Holy great smelling biscuits.
If I went back in time and told you 6 months ago.
Yes, 6 months ago. So we were just into the great
September.
audio quality of Hospital and Magic Xylophone.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks to everybody that listened to those episodes, because we sound really cool then too. But go back on.
As I said recently on Twitter,
yes.
Much like a fine wine, we get better with age.
Mm.
But if I would have told you 6 months ago,
yes.
we would have an interview with the creator of Bluey,
yep.
you would have called me a madman.
I would have been woken up in the middle of the night because I was dreaming, Greg.
But it just happened. Thank you, Joe.
That was unreal.
We appreciate the time. We appreciate everything that you've done with this show.
Yup. You woke up early and hung out with us.
Exactly. You were up at the bright Aussie hour of 8 a.m. while we were just getting ready to sit down for dinner. It was great. It was fun. We appreciate you.
Dinner was good too, for everyone that was wondering also. I personally think I probably had pizza. I eat pizza like twice a week.
It's a good thing to eat. Plug time, real quick, at Watching Bluey. Follow us. That's where the party happens. That's where the magic happens.
You make us sound so cool.
We are great. Our fans are great. Our listeners are great. And the Bluey community is great, as we said in the podcast. So follow us at Watching Bluey for a fun follow. We're getting into the back half starting next week of season 1. Send us your takes. WatchingBluey@gmail.com. Remember, rate, review. If you give us a review on Apple with a 5-star rating and a comment, we will shout you out on the podcast.
If you send us any information or something about an episode that you like or love, or email it to us, we'll throw you in the episode probably.
We'll do that.
Why the heck not? We like you folks, and it seems like you kind of like us too. So
far, so good.
Let's keep this train rolling.
And if you like us that much, Patreon, again, coming in April.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll have the Two Bandits watching Patreon.
Something.
And I was about to say, I haven't thrown this out to Mike yet. It would be 2 Bandits watching, 2 Bandits debating, 2 Bandits playing.
Could we debate?
2 Bandits reviewing.
2 Bandits talk politics.
It's going to be 2 Bandits doing everything but talk about this show, because we don't talk about Bluey. No. On Patreon. Had to get a dad joke in. If I couldn't do it the main episode, I got to do it here.
He did it. He pulled it out.
I pulled it off. One last plug. If you like Joe Brumm,
okay,
and you enjoyed that interview,
interesting. Go on.
I suggest watching a little show called Bluey.
Tell me more.
I will in 26 episodes before.
Okay.
And then about 142 episodes going forward. I think that math was good.
Yup.
And I'm pretty proud of that.
A tear in my eye.
Tear in your eye.
And
I
sniffle
appreciate
in the
it.
microphone.
I didn't even touch the calculator.
Thank
you, Joe. Thank you, Mike.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody out there. But until next week.
Next week.
It's got to be done.
It's got to be done.